Awesome. So we are now joined by the host of Screen Crush News. He produces, writes his videos for WandaVision, where he goes into the Easter eggs, are something that we watch after pretty much every episode. Now that we're watching it a little bit earlier, we're like, crap, it sucks that they're not like right there. But every time it does come out, we check it out. It's Ryan Arey. Thank you for coming on, man.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys. It's a pleasure to be here. Love your posters.
Oh yeah, we got this one and then that one, what, like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago?
Yeah,
I don't know Easy does it. What am I missing here? That must be great if you framed it.
It is. So
it's insane. It's like based in the 70s, and basically these two characters think that they have a treasure map to lost gold in California that their dead mother gave them. And so they rob gas stations and convenience stores across the
America,
southwest of America to make it to California.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. So set in the 70s, but made today. So it's kind of like a throwback
Oh yeah,
to a 70s movie. Kind of reminds me of sounds like the Turbo Kid. I don't know if you saw it. It's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, it's very much like that.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, great.
Linda Hamilton's in it, so it's kind of fun just seeing her do something kind of crazy.
Awesome. Yeah, very cool.
So how have you been? What's
is that her with? Sorry, is that Linda Hamilton with cornrows on the poster?
Yes. They said.
I got to see this movie.
Oh, it's crazy, and her character is crazy. But she said he said, Ben came on and talked with us. It said, like, we did that and we thought it was funny, and then the more that we thought about it afterwards, we were like, yeah, we probably shouldn't have done that. But it makes for a crazy poster.
It's literally Linda Hamilton with human teeth earrings and like gold teeth, and she's a like gang boss that is chasing these two.
It sounds awesome. I gotta check that out. All right, sold. Done.
Yes, go for it. Check it out. I think it's on VOD. It's on Apple TV for sure.
It's all over the place.
It's everywhere right now. But how have you been? How have the last couple weeks for you been with all this crazy Marvel news and Spider-Man coming out?
Busy, man.
Yeah.
Luckily, right now I have the option to like not make a video about every single announcement that comes out. So there's other channels out there who do the same kind of thing I do. So when the Spider-Man thing happened was that yesterday afternoon or last night?
Yesterday afternoon.
I was like, I'm doing other stuff right now. And I look forward to seeing other people's breakdown of that whiteboard. That's pretty, I mean, that's a cool title.
I'm
looking forward to seeing what it means.
Yeah, and that's something that, when it came out, obviously everybody's thinking that there's going to be the multiverse portion of it and No Way Home. It almost kind of seems like he's going to get stuck somewhere or stuck in another dimension. And some people have said maybe it's the Sonyverse. Where do you think they're going to kind of take that, obviously just off a title, which isn't a whole lot of information?
The first thing I thought, I tweeted basically what you just said when I first heard it, which was like, what if he is placed far like away from home in the Sonyverse, and that's their way of saying that? I'm one of these people. I was heartbroken to see Venom make money because I really didn't want any Sony Spider-Man movie that's not with the MCU to make money, because I wanted them to just give up and give the rights back to Marvel. I think we all kind of wanted that. And even when Spider-Verse came out, when I first heard the title and saw the first trailer, I thought, oh, that animation looks great. But screw them for trying to sell me on the idea of a Spider-Verse, So unfortunately, with all these big studios, everything they do is for profit because it's a business. But with Sony, it's just so transparent. And on the surface, like that's what they're trying to do. Even the deal, even like the moment we should have been celebrating, like, oh my God, Spider-Man, they made the deal again. Like when they looked like he wasn't going to come back, and then he was. That should have been a great moment. But even Kevin Feige had to say Spider-Man has the unique ability to travel to different cinematic universes, basically going, Venom's not in the MCU, but Spider-Man's going to be in Venom. So that could be what it is. And I'd hate to think they would choose this whole thing, design a whole movie, give it a title just to like help consolidate Sony's intellectual property. I hope not. I hope it's, but we'll see.
It seems really difficult, especially with like how they've been moving around Morbius. Like, it doesn't seem like they would, try to tie in Spider-Man into the Sonyverse and then move Morbius behind the release of Spider-Man, right?
Yeah, because that's when it's supposed to. So because it's supposed to come out now, February of 2022.
Right, which is gonna be like a couple months after
this supposed to come out.
Unless it doesn't affect it that direction. I mean, you can tell from the trailer that Morbius is going to be Vulture. Sinister Six on the horizon, Craven solo movie. If they're bringing in Jamie Foxx and Alfred Molina from the multiverse, you're rounding out your Sinister Six.
Yeah.
And Sony's just been jonesing for a Sinister Six movie all through the chains. And movie studios tend to do this thing where like an executive or a studio will get their jaws locked into an idea. There was this guy, I can't remember the name of the producer, back in the 90s, Kevin Smith, when he was a real hot property, wrote a script for Superman called Superman Lives. It's the one that Tim Burton was briefly attached to. And this executive of Warner Brothers insisted he's got to fight a giant spider. He's got to fight a giant robot spider. And of course, the movie fell through. But then if you've ever seen Wild Wild West, there's a giant robot spider in a Western. I wish I could remember the name of that executive. But sometimes that'll happen. Like Avi Arad just wanted Venom, like wanted to sell those Venom toys, and he finally got his wish.
Well, it's crazy and it's disheartening and just like basically makes you insane when it's like, okay, they're only doing this for the toy sales, or they're only doing this because they're trying to expand, which like, I guess you could have said the same thing when Marvel first started. Like they were trying to like expand this universe a little bit, but it's never been this blatant of what Sony is doing with Spider-Man, and they very much are trying to capitalize off of this huge IP.
It's also understandable where it's like for Sony, it's their only IP. Like it's their only cash cow.
Ghostbusters and Bond.
But well, I mean, with like within this like that superhero.
Is Bond Sony?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh geez. Okay.
They have the film rights to that. It was MGM.
Okay.
I don't remember when Sony acquired the rights, but they did. Well, hold on. If that's what they're doing, we're jumping to conclusions. We're being very cynical because we got burned so hard with ASM2. It might also just be great. That's the other thing. Like, I said before I was cynical about Spider-Verse. I mean, Spider-Verse is one of, if not the best superhero movies ever made.
Oh, it's
so
by far, yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned Marvel when they first started. We could have looked at that in a very cynical way, but because the movies were good, it turned out they were giving us something that we didn't even know we wanted. So they might be good, they might be great. I don't know. Clearly, John Watts has decided to hitch his wagon to the Marvel Studios wagon train and not the Sony Spider-Man one, because he's going to do FF. But if they get good talent and good people in there, it still seems like there were all those rumors about Venom having like massive reshoots and rewriting to make the tone different. Like it was R-rated, they wouldn't let it be R-rated. It seems like they still meddle a good bit,
They meddle quite a bit. And it's interesting to me that John Watts obviously is now attached to Fantastic Four. Is that almost, should we look into that and basically them doing that, basically saying like Spider-Man probably will not have any more movies within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and this guy that they really like, let's shuffle him into what is they're hoping going to be the next big franchise for them?
I think it definitely means John Watts didn't want to tell Spider-Man stories for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
I think that they're lucky that he's not done anything else in between. A lot of directors, and I understand this, want to do an indie movie or something else or something easier. Mm-hmm. And I don't believe John Watts has, right? He's gone.
No, I don't think so.
It's been like 2 years between movies. I think it's been back to back to back. It not necessarily. I did see a news item today, and I don't remember where it's from or if it's verified, that this movie is like the last one on Tom Holland's contract, like the last Spider-Man movie on his contract.
Yeah.
I believe he would still have at least one MCU movie. Because when the deal was announced.
He has to appear in one more MCU movie after this one.
Which I think will be a few years from now, because they haven't even announced, like, I don't think the team up movie is going to be called Avengers blank blank. I think it's going to be called like an event title. Unless it's we just put out a video about the Young Avengers and how the MCU is obviously, if you read the comics, introducing all of the Young Avengers.
Yep. Yeah.
So that might be its own Avengers movie, but I'm not sure, what the next big thing will be. I think Kang's going to be the villain, but I don't know like what the actual story is going to be.
Yeah. Well, and so they just announced a whole lot of stuff yesterday, and one of them was Loki being, now it was supposed to be May, it had been rumored to be May. Now I think it was June 11th. And with everybody's just wondering with what the heck is going to happen with Black Widow. Obviously the news of COVID has gotten a lot better as of late, but still not to where everybody wants it to be. Do you think not even trying to speculate that they're going to push it again or put it on Disney Plus, do you think it's smart that they should put it on Disney Plus, or do you think that it would be just the smarter move to keep it in theaters only?
I think right now what they should, like, guessing what the COVID infection rate is going to be in May, and New York, I think, is announcing they're going to open up movie theaters at 50% capacity with a limit, and also with the ceiling limit. If I were vaccinated, I would feel fine going to a non-crowded movie theater personally.
Yeah.
I think what they'll end up doing is putting Black Widow in theaters for a week, 2 weeks, and then doing the premiere release on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Maybe not even the premiere part. That's my gut feeling, based on like vaccinations and where I think we'll be by that point, because the government is finally starting to get its shit together. I also think that, I don't know this for sure, I don't think anybody does, there's probably contractual things with like Scarlett Johansson where all these stars make a percentage off the gross. And I would imagine that's a big part of the reason why they're not just doing the straight to Disney Plus route. Plus, I mean, have they announced, did they make like a good bit of money off Mulan, or what was the other one they've done as the premiere?
They just released with that animated.
Is Raya out?
Raya,
yeah,
Raya, yeah.
But I haven't seen anything.
They didn't ever put any financials out of how well they did with Mulan, which leads me to believe that it wasn't as good as they.
I can't imagine they did well with how awful that movie was, but
yeah, I mean, I don't think they've put anything out for that. But it's interesting because, like, I think at some point they kind of have to just be like, we need to get it out, and I understand wanting that theater, experience for everybody, but like at some point we're pushing these things a little too far down the road. And on top of that, shows like Loki are getting to the point where they're ahead of where it was supposed to be in the release schedule. So do you think we're getting to a point where these shows are ahead of where we're really supposed to be?
Yeah, yes and no. I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier was supposed to come out first. So it wouldn't surprise me if we watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier and we go, I think WandaVision is going to end with something going askew.
Yeah.
With the multiverse or something. So we might watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier and go, wait, what?
Yeah, right.
Wait, how come there's not like 5 different versions of Falcon from the multiverse running around, or whatever it is they're going to do? But also, look, when you go back and you watch all the other phases of Marvel movies, that was a problem more at the beginning of phase 2. We'd watch Iron Man 3 and go, well, wait, how come his buddies aren't helping him? Or you'd watch Thor: The Dark World and go, well, wait, why aren't the Avengers this cataclysmic thing? I think that Marvel back then underestimated the effect the Avengers would have on us as far as like changing our mindset with these films. Black Widow's a flashback, but I'm going to bet they're going to introduce characters like, Yelena Belova that'll appear later on. Some of them are probably you can't put out of order. Like I would imagine that Loki, Quantumania, and the Eternals. Those are just 3 that I think I could see crossing over because Loki's traveling throughout history. Quantumania is going to introduce Kang, the TVA. It seems like there's going to be a lot of bleed through there. But the fact that they're willing to put Falcon and the Winter Soldier out before Black Widow tells you that they're not worried about that. When originally it was supposed to come out before Black Widow was.
It's just so interesting, like everything having to be pushed and just figuring out what everything's going to be.
But think about it: if you were to switch around a lot of these phase 2 and 3 films, would it matter?
Yeah, and that's why it's interesting to be like, well, it's not that big of a deal because it would not have mattered at all. But you did need, because what was the movie where Thanos finally goes and he's like, I'll do it myself, and he like picks up
Ultron.
the gauntlet, and it was Ultron. So it's like that is a huge event movie. So maybe something like something like Eternals or Spider-Man No Way Home can't get moved because they have those moments that they need to happen in this order.
I would think Doctor Strange 2 and probably Spider-Man would be those. I also think like some of them are kind of in the wrong order already. Like Winter Soldier came at the end of phase 2. It really should have come at the beginning because that would have taken care of all those other problems I just said, but and maybe they've arranged the continuity to say that it comes first or, for whatever it is. But as an audience member, experience, and it would have made more sense narratively if that would have happened first, you know?
One of the things that we've talked about a little bit already, but WandaVision, that's obviously the hottest TV show, entertainment content, whatever you want to call it. It is the number one right now. Even before diving into the absolute insanity of it all, are you surprised at all at how big it's gotten?
I'm surprised. I'm personally, this is the show that I was looking forward to the most. Like when Disney Plus first put out their first Marvel teaser,
Yeah,
and I saw like the first image of WandaVision, I was like, yep, that's going to be for this guy, because I'm a big sitcom fan, big comic book fan. I love Vision and Scarlet Witch comics. Like I just knew this would be like the kind of thing that most people are waiting on. Loki, they're waiting on Captain America stuff. I even did a poll right after on our channel page, and WandaVision was dead last of those three. Yeah, I know, but it's because I got in a little bit of trouble with some people because I tweeted out Marvel's breaking boundaries and DC's re-editing the same movie, meaning the Snyder Cut.
We agree with you 100%.
Well, it's an oversimplification, right? When I say Marvel and DC, I just mean Marvel Studios and the DCEU. Obviously, DC's doing great stuff in the comics. They're doing great stuff on CW with Legends of Tomorrow. I hear Superman and Lois is good. I haven't checked it out yet. Yeah. So everybody's doing good things, and everybody's also got some stuff that sucks that they're putting out. But in general, if you're looking at what's happening right now, like in March, come on. Like WandaVision, what's so brilliant about the way they did this was, I thought from watching the trailers, part of my job is watching trailers and figuring things out. I thought, oh, okay, so she's going to go to this place and resurrect the Vision, and they're going to get sucked into the sitcom reality. I never thought they would have started with the sitcom for 3 episodes.
Yeah, it was
that
insane.
Is ballsy. Like, even though they doubled up on the first week, that is ballsy as hell. And a lot of people didn't like it. Like a lot of people on Twitter, a friend of mine was like, oh, I'm not really getting into it. I'm like, what are you talking about? This is amazing. Like, they would never do this in a movie, or Warner Brothers would never do this ever for anything like that.
No.
Maybe on the CW, I don't think they care. Like, there was a musical episode of Flash, which was terrible, but at least they did it.
Yeah, it was awful.
It was just, because they can't actually sing. Get the guy from Rent. That's it. No one else could sing on the show. And the guy from Legends of Tomorrow who can sing, so they had to like find a way to put him back in the episode. Doesn't matter. It was a couple years ago. So that's a big part of it, is they actually did the mystery box right. They set it up to where we genuinely wanted to know, like what the hell's going on. And our channel is doing great from it, because not everybody's an MCU fan who's read the comics. So I've been able to go in and say, well, Agnes is probably playing Agatha Harkness, as well as offer up half a dozen completely bonkers theories that aren't going to be true. I don't think that Falcon and the Winter Soldier is necessarily going to attract the same fervor. I think it'll attract the same people. I don't think the fans are going to go anywhere, but I don't think it seems like it's going to be more straightforward.
And that's the coolest thing about this show. It is so different from anything that the MCU's ever done.
Well, and they did it like so geniusly, because since they crossed over multiple decades of genre TV shows, like they even pulled in people who would never ordinarily watch superhero content, like our mother.
Oh yeah. Right.
You always say your mom. Our mom literally, like, out of nowhere, we're at dinner one night. She's like, what's this new show that's coming on? And I go, she's not talking about WandaVision. She's like, the one where it's sitcoms. And I was like, oh my God, she is. Like,
yeah, she's like, oh, the first one's supposed to be Brady Bunch and and Bewitched and whatnot.
Like, and it was just like, holy shit. But like, and I'm not saying at all that I'm not excited for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I think that's gonna be super cool. But the difference is it is, like you said, way more straightforward of a show. Whereas basically the lead up to this is like, this is going to be batshit, and it is going to be insane.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier is just going to be like classic MCU content.
Yeah,
right?
Lots of action, but it allows, though,
we think there might be a mystery there too.
True.
We don't know.
But I think like the coolest part about it, and you said it, you can come up with these bonkers theories, and that's the greatest thing about any TV show, is if it creates a discussion amongst fans, and people can just throw out all these insane theories. That's what makes this show great.
I mean, it's kind of like how it was with Endgame and Infinity Wars, but this is way different, because this feels like American Horror Story or one of those type of shows where just like anything could happen.
No, and I think anything could happen.
Well, it's a natural fit. Comic book. I read a really good piece in the AV Club the other day. It talked about how superhero shows had a hard time adapting to TV, because for various reasons. Like Heroes is a great example. It started off very serialized. In the second season, it fizzled because it was just trying to repeat the same thing that made it great in the first season instead of moving on. Then this article pointed out Arrow and Flash as great examples of how to do it, because what they did is they took an existing structure, TV structure, and they implemented superheroes on top of that storytelling. You guys want to meet my dog?
Yes, sure. Where's our dog?
He's right here.
Nice.
There he is. This is Doug.
There he is.
Hey,
I
hi,
see him at the
guys.
end of every episode or every video now.
He's a good boy. I'm going to be tugging with the toy with him right now.
All
Keep him
good.
occupied. He just went to the dog park. I thought he'd be tired.
He'd be running around.
So what they did, again, this is the AV Club making this observation, not me. So you could take the same template from a CW show, except for Legends of Tomorrow because it's so out there. But you could apply, instead of superheroes, everybody's a doctor or a cop.
Yeah.
And the story structure and everything would be the same. But WandaVision feels a lot more like an actual comic book, where it's, comic books are episodic. They're serialized. They end on a cliffhanger. They're basically TV before TV existed. And one of the gripes that I've seen about the MCU, a friend of mine, a YouTuber named Patrick Willems, he does great stuff, check out his channel, did a video where he said, the downside of the MCU is we get the big crossover stories, but we don't get the side stories. We get Captain America Civil War, but we never got to see that Avengers team do anything.
Yeah.
And now it seems like we're getting those stories.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about Disney Plus. And the last episode ended on a big cliffhanger and a huge reveal, and spoilers if anybody's not caught up. But it was finally revealed that, and a lot of people already knew this, that Agnes is actually Agatha Harkness, somebody who has been in the comics for a really long time, has been connected with Scarlet Witch for a really long time. Obviously, it wasn't super surprising, but where do you think they're going to kind of go with this? And I've seen you and a lot of other people, speculate that she's not the only person pulling the strings. Who do you think is really pulling the strings here?
I obviously said from the trailer that Agnes is going to be Agatha Harkness. I never even considered that she would be the villain, because she's not the villain in the comic. She's kind of a gray character.
Yeah.
Who, hey babe, he's okay. I got him. Well, now you got him. Sorry.
No worries.
She's kind of a gray character who, the way Stan Lee and Jack Kirby used her in Fantastic Four was like you didn't really know what was up. There was something kind of weird, mystical, secretive about her, because she's a witch. But she's not evil. She's just kind of a gray character who helps Wanda out. And in Wanda's history of being manipulated by all these evil men, Agatha's always been the one to come in and aid her and kind of guide her through it and try to help her through it. So I'm hoping that she's not the baddie. I think the next episode is probably going to open with that rumored flashback of her in Salem. I think we're going to see some things from Agatha's point of view, and we're going to get a feeling of why she is doing what she's doing. My guess would be that book, that Wanda's red energy, isn't being used to open the book. It's being used to keep it shut.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
That Agatha's end game here is not to help Mephisto or Nightmare or Cthulhu. It's to keep them in the book. And one thing we almost did this week, and I kind of held off on it because I thought, well, by the time we finish it, the episode will be out. There's a lot of magic books in Marvel Comics.
Yes.
And about half of them contain an evil spirit and have appeared in Vision and Scarlet Witch comics. I think she's going up against Cthulhu, and I forget how you pronounce the guy's name, but he's the spirit of Halloween. He's also trapped in this book.
Interesting.
It's probably Cthulhu has a tighter association with Wanda because of where she was born on this mountain called Wundagore. It gets very weird, and I'm not going to go into the whole thing.
We love it.
Yeah, it's the comics, like Wanda's comics are especially weird because when different writers came in, I mentioned men manipulating her. It's funny because like different male writers came in and completely changed her origin over and over. But it's appropriate that a character whose power is to rewrite reality has her own reality rewritten over the years. Unintentional on Marvel's part, but it's pretty cool. So no matter what, I think there's going to be an evil spirit in that book.
Okay.
And either Agatha's helping or hurting it.
I hadn't thought about it that way because I had always seen that she had been an ally. I hadn't thought about she was using the power to keep that closed, which would really kind of throw, I think, everybody for a loop because everybody has been speculating that it's her trying to summon Mephisto or summon some
Right.
energy or force to come and help her. That's that. Okay, I can see that totally happening.
Well, and if she is trying to summon them, I think they're going to give us a damn good reason for her to want to do that.
Yeah,
I think that Marvel's learned from Thor: The Dark World, and they're being very good at giving their villains like personalities and motivations, and not just evil for the sake of evil. Especially when you have Catherine Hahn putting on a clinic in this show.
she has been killing it.
And Elizabeth Olsen have shown such range in this series. Like it's unbelievable. Who would have thought? Like when I saw Godzilla, I would have never thought that this Olsen twin would grow up to be like this great of an actress. But she's fantastic.
What's your take on Pietro? Do you think they're crossing over him from the Fantastic Four universe, or do you think it's just like a complete meta deal that they use the same actor?
X-Men universe, but yeah.
I think it's meta. It wouldn't surprise me if there was a light implication here that Wanda being a multiverse of madness and the X-Men exist as part of a multiverse of Disney IP. It wouldn't surprise me if that was there. I don't think he's going to end up being Evan Peters Pietro, or this is going to mean that she's going to open a portal to the other side. It's going to allow these characters come in for a couple reasons. One, that would be lame. It would just be bad storytelling. Like, and two, they want to do it on their own. Like all the rumor mill said that Feige was obsessed with how to introduce the X-Men. Deadpool is the only one who you can organically introduce from the last universe, And I think that's even at Disney's behest more than anything else.
Yeah.
And even if they wanted to, it'd be weird to do it like in the first Disney Plus TV show.
Like have that be the very first one. No, man, this has been awesome. We've talked a lot about the different MCU things, and the 7th episode. No, is tomorrow 8?
8, yeah.
8.
So when this episode premieres, the 8th episode will be out, and then the finale is next week. Are you expecting an hour? Tomorrow's supposed to be 48 minutes. Do you think that last episode will be anywhere near an hour?
I mean, we're talking with credits. Some long credits. You know what I mean? I think you're going to see mid-credit scenes in both the next ones.
Okay.
I don't know. Probably. I think they're both going to be longer. They're because I think we've seen the last of the sitcom format. We got a good theory on like the commercials and why they're there. That I hope I get to see pan out. We're gonna have a video, unless it's revealed tomorrow. We'll have a video coming out about that theory.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's super awesome.
If we're done with the sitcom format, do you think like inside Westview, it's just going to be basically modern day? Like everything's going to revert back to modern day for the last 2 episodes?
Okay, so the way I think the sitcom thing is working is we saw in the last episode, Agatha sends a message into Wanda's mind, right? It was Agatha all along. I think that she's been doing that. And then that signal, because of Wanda's powers, Alexa off. I got a bum shoulder. I got Alexa to remind me to do my physical therapy exercises. I think that Wanda's like a transmitter for that signal.
Interesting.
That she's sending out. And at this point, there's no need for that. I think that Agatha wanted the twins. She wanted them to grow up. And now they're probably going to be teenagers the next time we see them, which is a bummer because those kids are really good actors.
Yeah,
so it wouldn't surprise me if everybody was just stuck in place because Agatha doesn't need them anymore.
That would be super creepy.
Yeah.
Right?
Kind of like, what, episode 6? It was the Halloween episode?
No, it would have been episode 5.
Yeah, well,
whatever. 5?
No, 6.
No, that was 6.
That
was 6.
Yeah, that's my bad. Yeah, okay, look, everybody was stuck and couldn't move.
Especially like on the outside of Westview, like people were just
Yeah.
in a loop and whatnot.
Yeah, that is.
But then again, things are running fine in the circus. You know, I just don't think Agatha needs them. I think she's going to be concentrating on whatever it is that she wants. You know.
Well, we're definitely going to be following your Twitter and your YouTubes to watch all that stuff. YouTube is ScreenCrush. Go and subscribe to it. Twitter is @RyanArey. Ryan Arey. Any other social medias you want to plug?
Nah, man, that's it.
Cool. Hey, we really appreciate you taking the time, and we're going to be excited to see what you have coming up in the future.
Likewise. Thanks, guys.
Hey, you have a good one.
Appreciate it. Take care.